Traditionally, Chief Atkin has spoken in these council meetings around the National Peace Officer Memorial Day, which is observed each year on May 15th. This year, I'm grateful for that opportunity, and I appreciate you allowing me to share a few things with you. This year, the names of 556 officers will be added to the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. They will take their place next to the names of nearly 24,000 other officers already memorialized. Well, I thank God every day that no member of our department is being added to this wall. 2023 for Syracuse Police Department has been different than any other year. As a police family, we were rocked to the core as both of our chiefs experienced significant health issues in close proximity to one another. In addition to both chiefs dealing with their dynamics, we had other members in our department facing significant health and family challenges. And just last week, our department was involved in an officer-involved shooting. As I took on the role of acting chief, there are a few things that stood out to me that I'd like to share with you tonight. First off, Syracuse Police Department employs some of the most dedicated, compassionate, and caring people I've ever encountered. I was consistently taken back by the selfless acts and watching as people routinely put others before themselves as we dealt with the challenges within our department. Words will never be able to accurately express my gratitude to each one of the members of my police family for all that they did to help me and our department during such challenging times. I always knew it, but without question, Syracuse Police Department is home and is where I plan to serve for a long time going forward. As many of you are aware, the police department has our guiding principles of pride, accountability, cooperation, and excellence. The leaders that serve this city are shining examples of these principles. I received countless texts and calls from the department heads of the city offering any assistance I might need as I took on the role of acting chief. Additionally, Brody, Steve spent countless time guiding me in processes, budgets, and giving rationale for why certain things needed to be done a certain way. I want to publicly express my appreciation to all of them for the support and kindness that was demonstrated to me during my time as acting chief. Finally, the Syracuse City organization as a whole is one of a kind and truly embodies all that is good. From council-supported events to public works, preparing our building for vigils, and City Hall helping do fundraising events, this city is an incredible place to serve, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to work here. In closing, there is a foundational concept in law enforcement that is represented by the acronym WIN. WIN stands for What's Important Now. In an operational setting in a police department, WIN is a powerful decision-making tool that can aid in tactics, running incident command, or influencing use of force incidents. I share this with you tonight as we enter into Police Week and challenge all of us to think and WIN at a much broader scope. I believe WIN can be incredibly powerful to all of us because of its simplicity and its diversity and application. I believe WIN can serve as a mantra for all of us as we navigate in our daily lives. As we've seen with our assistant chief, life can be short. All things that we've said and outside of our roles within the city, there's far more important things than what we maybe look at on a daily basis. Remember why we are here. Remember what's truly important in the grand scheme of things. In my time as acting chief, I learned a lot, but I think the most valuable lesson I ever learned was never forget WIN. May God watch over us in our community, and may God help ensure that no Syracuse police officer's name ever ends up on that wall. Thank you.
Thank you. If you will now join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now have a reading of a proclamation declaring May 2023 Mental Health Awareness Month in Syracuse City. Yes, please.
Whereas there is a proven connection between good mental health and overall personal health, and whereas mental illness affect almost every family in America, and whereas people with mental illnesses recover if given the necessary services and supports in their communities, and whereas people with mental illnesses make important contributions to our families and our communities, and whereas millions of adults and children are disabled by mental illnesses every year, and whereas only 1 out of 2 people with a serious form of mental illness seeks treatment for his or her mental illness. And whereas stigma and fear of discrimination keep many who would benefit from mental health services from seeking help. And whereas research shows that most effective way to reduce that stigma is through personal contact with someone with a mental illness. And whereas good mental health is critical to the well-being of our families, communities, schools, and businesses. And whereas greater public awareness about mental illness can change negative attitudes and behaviors toward people with mental illnesses. Now, therefore, Mayor Dave Mon, on behalf of Syracuse City, Utah, does hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month. As the mayor, he calls upon all Syracuse City citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit the community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental illnesses, reducing stigma and discrimination, and promoting appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental illnesses.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is public comment. Seeing a few in attendance, I'm not going to go into the lengthy explanation of why we have or the rules of public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment this evening? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Item number 4 is approval of minutes. We have minutes for March 28th and April 11th. If there's any adjustments, or I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes as listed here.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now we have 3 items of consent. These items have already been talked about in other work sessions extensively. They include amendment to the HCA Syracuse Mixed Use Project Development, also authorization of renewal of our interlocal agreement with Victim Services Program, and a proposed resolution appointing Dennis Opp to the Syracuse City Disaster Preparedness Committee. Does anybody have any questions or issues with these consent items? If not, I will take a motion.
So I move that we approve the consent items A, B, and C.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 6 is authorizing the execution of agreement of extension of water services outside the city limits as petitioned by Don Bradshaw. Don is not in attendance tonight, but there was a proposal that we had in our last meeting, and it's been discussed. If anybody would like to make a proposal.
Yeah.
I move that we table it until we get some more discussion on it.
So could we get clarification? So at this point, we have the option with Mr. Bradshaw not being here and potentially looking for some additional insight on this, that we could either table it or we could approve it with a condition that we receive the water rights
Yes.
attached to the property.
So there was some discussion that our options would be, we could approve this contingent on turning over the water rights so that we could deliver the water based on those rights. We could deny it, or we could table it for further discussion. Those are our options tonight.
And council, there is a proposed agreement that was included in the packet, and that particular part of the ordinance requires that we have an agreement for the extension of water services. So there is a proposed agreement in there that the providing the water services would be conditioned upon execution of an agreement.
So we can agree to that as proposed, and then it's up to him if he wants to execute it. That would relieve us of the need to go back and have this discussion again, or we could table it, but eventually we do have to make a decision on his application.
Yeah, so my opinion is that if our ultimate goal is to have this move forward with the water rights, if we were to approve it, then if he comes forward and he doesn't want to do that, it's just on him and there's nothing that happens. And I assume it just stays as something in the ether. And so
I think that's well put.
Stays in the cloud.
I don't know what more discussion would accomplish.
I agree with that.
And I think we've already discussed that this should be contingent upon receiving the water rights, because that's the only thing that equalizes it for the city, as far as I understand. So I think that I would be in favor of So Jen has a motion that we
There's a
have.
motion, but we don't have a second. So if without a second, I'm going to move that that motion fails. Do we have an alternate motion?
I'd like to make an alternate motion that we approve the agreement that is listed in the packet, contingent upon receiving the water rights.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, passes 3-1.
Oh, Seth didn't.
No, I did. I
Oh, you
said
did?
aye.
I thought I heard him. Sorry. So that passes 3-1. Item number 7, proposed resolution R23-16, removing certain property from agricultural protection areas north of 700 south between 1,000 and 2,000, containing 225.61 acres, and on the north side of 700, approximately 3150 west, containing 39.09 acres. Do we have a discussion of this resolution or a preface?
That would be
Okay,
me. So the church has petitioned to remove certain parcels from the agricultural protection area. And by statute, they are allowed to do that by petitioning the legislative body that granted that in the first place. And the city in 2000, by resolution, placed those parcels in an agricultural protection area. And so the Utah code just allows them to petition the city council to then remove it subsequent. And we do have to provide constructive notice to property owners in the area if we do remove that.
is there anyone who has discussion or intention with this proposal or application?
It just sounds to me, and for clarification, that they asked to have it placed in
Yes.
the zone and now they're asking to have it removed from the zone. There really isn't anything that we necessitate them to stay in that. It's of their own free will and what they need.
Yes.
Okay.
And it
thank-
couldn't be developed and it has certain tax implications, I think, if it remains as a. ag
Correct.
protection. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would move that we approve resolution R23-16.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The next item is a public hearing, and this would also require a motion to accept the tentative fiscal year budget for year 2023-2024 that would begin in July. Steve, did you have any words before we enter into a public hearing?
I don't. We've discussed this over several meetings. The one thing I do want to say is this proposal does have a balanced budget without a tax increase on property taxes.
Okay, excellent. At this time, then, before we have any further discussion, I will open this to public hearing. And seeing none interested in coming forward, I will close the public hearing. And then unless there's any other discussion amongst council.
I just want to say, Steve, I'm going to pull up this on YouTube. For the moment you said that there's no increase. So when their county property taxes go up, I can tell them to go to that moment.
That will not be a city increase.
It's not because of the city.
The city portion.
The city portion is solid.
So I don't want to muddy the waters here any. So as far as the city's budget is concerned, could I get a motion?
I move that we accept the tentative fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes unanimous. I will say before we move on that there are indications that there may be county or other service districts that is outside of the city. I just want to make that clear and on the record. That has nothing to do with us. Okay, item number 9.
May I be excused?
Yes.
For-
Oh,
Okay.
yes, okay. Yes, item number 9. Is that what you want to be excused for?
Oh, no, I think we already did that. Did we already do this?
Yeah, we're
Sorry,
on time.
Steve.
We're on 9.
Okay.
Okay. So item number 9 is a public hearing, proposed resolution R23-14, amending the budget for the fiscal year ending in June 30th, 2023.
Just want to say we discussed this at length in the work session and All the amendments are in the packet if you have any questions.
Okay. Are there any discussions on amending the final budget for this year? I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve resolution R 2314 amending this fiscal year's budget.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes unanimously. And I will excuse Councilman Carver from this next item. Proposed resolution R 23-15, sharing half of the 50% match of Layton Canal Company, who is making application for water optimization program grant offered from the Utah Department of Agriculture to assist in funding and construction of the piping and ditching used of both stormwater and irrigation water along 3000 west between 2495 south and 2700 south. Robert, could you give us a quick preview here?
Layton Canal Company will be putting application in for this grant. It's due the end of this month. If we agree to participate with them, it would be approximately $63,000 out of our storm drain capital. And the entire amount would be cost about $250,000 to pipe a ditch, and our portion of it would be about $63,000.
Okay. Any discussion here, council?
Seems like this was a good deal and a good effort to jump in on when there's that great opportunity to match and exceed what we're going to contribute.
And it sounds like there's a problem in that area.
Yeah.
That affects us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like there's flooding and issues there. So just as you were saying, Seth, anytime there's something that we can combine with somebody else and make our dollars go further, even if it's earlier than we expected it to be, I think it's a great thing.
Okay, before I call for a motion, point of order here. Because Councilman Carver has recused herself of this issue and Councilman Savage is absent at the moment, if this were a split vote, would the mayor be allowed to vote so that there could be a majority and we could move forward? Or would this fail without a majority? So that I need all three or this fails. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify.
I was going to vote against it so you could. Dang
No.
it.
Okay, so just to be clear, we're at a risky point here. We could table this for another moment, or we can pass it at this moment, but it will fail without all three of you.
Yeah, I move that we approve resolution R 2315.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 3-0. All right. Invite Councilman Carver back in, please. Councilmember Carver, sorry. All right, we're going to move on to proposed ordinance 2023-12, amending the Syracuse Municipal Code sections 4.10.104, 4.25.130, 6.05.110, 6.05.120, 6.20.010, 6.20.020, and 11.20.40 relating to civil citations and the appeals process. Bree, would you give us a quick summation?
So I just took the hearing officer portion of the code that was already in place, and I amended each of the other sections that provide for civil citation appeal procedures and made them all uniform. So currently, as proposed, all civil citations would be appealable within 10 days to the city recorder's office with the appeal fee in the consolidated fee schedule. They would then have a hearing opportunity before a hearing officer, and the rules and procedures are already in place for that hearing officer in our Title VI.
And that hearing officer is also in place for other uses. So
Yes, and we will need to, the hearing officers appointed with, by the mayor and advice and consent of the council. So that's something we will have to do as well.
Okay. But that's already done for another purpose. So do we need a new motion to extend it? Or can we just adopt the current?
That's currently in place, but I don't believe we have someone currently appointed for
Oh,
that
okay.
position.
All right, we'll work that out. Okay, council, any questions or discussion?
I think anytime you can streamline and have something be applicable through all processes, that's always better, especially if there becomes an area of expertise for somebody that they can address it. I felt several times when people have come before us that I'm ill-equipped to know how to handle that citation process. So I think it's a good idea.
Agree.
Okay. Can I get a motion? Or is that your motion?
I move that we approve amending ordinance 2023-12 Syracuse City Municipal Codes in all previously stated sections
Well, done.
related to civil citation appeals and procedures.
Well
Second.
done. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
I
Any opposed?
practiced that one.
You did a good job. And thank you for not restating them all. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 12, consideration and or action to approve 2023 municipal elections polling locations and alternative voting centers. Okay, Cassie?
Yeah, so I included the memo in your packet that just explains that this action is required by the Utah Election Code. We are contracting with the Davis County Clerk's Office to help administer our 2023 election, and they have been working on the list of polling locations for the election. I did just get an amendment from them today. They were able to add another location in Fruit Heights at the Fruit Heights City Hall. So if you do, if the council does make a motion to approve this list of vote centers, will you please also just include approval of the Fruit Heights, since that was not included on our advertisement to the public?
Okay. And I will just state for the record that the city recorder is also the elections officer in the city. So all questions election related go to her. All right, any discussion?
I really appreciated the idea of being able to drop it off at a location other than here. There are sometimes when we're in Salt Lake or somewhere on election day, and rather than have it mailed, we want to physically put it in a box or hand it to someone. So I think it's a great idea to have it, especially if it's in, it's not like we're saying any other state. We're talking about right here. So I think that's a great idea.
I move that we approve the 2023 municipal election polling locations, including the recently added Fruit Heights location, as just described.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, we are to our second public comment moment in the agenda tonight. I will open that for public comment. And seeing none, I will close public comment. Now we move on to mayor and council announcements. Jen, you are up first this time.
Sweet. Okay, so I spoke with the Night Sky Science folks. And I know, where's Noah? I heard that Noah sent a letter to Maverick about their lights on the sidewalk, how bright they are. Like, they are super bright. The Night Sky folks at Antelope Island are actually getting involved. So I would like to, if she's available for our next work session, invite Miss Wendy from Antelope Island to talk to us about what they've done with like Kaysville and things like that. Also, the lights at the Bountiful Temple are so bright that the houses around it have aluminum foil in their windows. And I mean, it's bad. I actually drove up there after I spoke with them to see, because on a clear night, you can see the Bountiful Temple from here. And he wasn't kidding. There's the whole neighborhood around there. And I would like to prevent that from happening in Syracuse. So I don't know what the temple lights are going to be like on our new temple, but maybe we can look into that. I know Kaysville put in a lowered temperature. They lowered the light temperature at a certain time. And also if the businesses are closed, the lights are off. They aren't allowed to leave the business lights on the entire time while they're closed. Also, I saw a semi truck pulling into Walmart today. And if you haven't sat there and watched that lately, please do. It's a very interesting scenario that takes place multiple times a day. And it's fascinating to watch how those drivers handle it. And the manager's report, hey, stop skimping on the manager's report. Some women get Cosmopolitan. I get the manager's report. And the last couple of times there's been like nothing in it. And that's like our inside scoop to the city. Look at all of you guys. Please and thank you. Can brag about your people, what you guys are doing. We want to hear all the good things that are happening in our city so we can tell other people when they ask us. Please. And that's all I got.
Okay, Lisa.
Carrie Ann Lazenby wants to do a Memorial Day event as we do every year. So we're looking obviously on Memorial Day. So just a heads up, May 29th at 8 a.m. I'll be helping her with that. It's not a specific city liaison position, but we've always helped and hosted in the past. So that's it.
Okay. So kind of in line with the Mental Health Awareness Month updates. So tomorrow at 4:30 at the rec center, one of the room, I think the arts and crafts room is going to be used for a group of youth that are going to be between the ages of 13 to 16 that are meeting with CTC to ensure that their goals and practices and the targets that they're working on are aligned with what kids are seeing and what data they're seeing reflected in like the SHARP survey. And so we could probably use one more youth for all those youth 13 to 16 that are listening attentively right now to our city council meeting. Yeah. But it's a great opportunity. They also are giving out a $5 Fizz gift card. So, and then on May 18th here in the council chambers, the big item that we'd love to have obviously shared out as much as possible is the question, persuade, refer QPR suicide prevention training for adults and older teens. It's at 7 p.m. and it's about an hour-long training. And really talks about signs, symptomology, all that kind of stuff, identifying crises ahead of time and things to watch out for, but then ways to seek help and all that great stuff. So this is a really, really good training. This is the one that we talked about having for multiple months, but we started out right now anyway to have it just this first time to see kind of what the take rate is on that, how likely it is that folks are attending. This is an evidence-based prevention training. I'll be here. So, if anybody wants to come hang out with me, come join. But this is a great thing to get out on social media for Mental Health Awareness Month. I also try to abstain even more so from social media because of the detriment it plays in individuals and especially our youth's mental health. So I don't go on there this month and I'm trying not to be there anyway. So if anybody is on there, please share this out with as many as possible.
Okay.
And I think I sent you guys the flyer. So thank you.
Great. Oh,
Sure. Just one quick announcement or update from Planning Commission's last meeting. So because this has been it's been so highly publicized. So just an update that Earthworks Landscaping has requested a rezone for some property over on 193, which is a much more commercial area. So they've requested a rezone for general commercial to neighborhood services to operate out of that location. So
I am so glad to hear them still in the city.
yes.
And just FYI, that's already on the work session agenda for the next meeting. So we'll be talking about that. All right. I do want to say one word planning forward towards the Memorial Day service. When Representative Lisenby was a member of this council, she started the Memorial Day service. There may have been one long in the past, but she started that. And it was kind of her passion project, and she continued to do that after she left. I'm fine having that be her project. I have fully supportive of that. This year, this past year, when it was my first year as mayor, I received a couple of comments blasting me for not making it a city event and demanding that the city take charge. I don't plan to do that. I plan to fully support the way it's continued to go. But I do just want to put that out in the public. I'm just supporting the event as is. I am not going to formally force that away from someone else. So I'm grateful that it's in the city. I'm grateful that it happens. I traditionally on Memorial Day go to a service with my father, who is a veteran, and he usually end up speaking somewhere because he has been the past commander of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And so as that, I usually spend that day with him, but this has not been a city event. So that's my plan is to, I'm glad you're continuing to support that. I'm glad it's still here. Other than that, I am going to say that at this point, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Already.
Already
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
So you were waiting on that second for a second.
Yeah. Full support.
Oh.
I haven't either. But yeah. Yeah. Voicemail said, you know, very